Hi, my name is Jada if you're new here. Well, most of you are new here. But if you haven't followed me over from Instagram, my name is Jada and I wrote a book in 2 weeks. Disclaimer, I am not a professional writer. I've drafted 3 books now. 2 of them are one of them is in revision purgatory. One of them I'm actively working on, which is Church Bread, my latest work in progress. In this video, I'm going to go over the 5 major tips that I posted in my reel and go a little bit more in depth. Tip 1 is prep. I did a ton of prep work to write a book in 2 weeks. People think that I just kind of freeballed it and was like, I'm just gonna write this book in 2 weeks. But I did so much prep. You can ask my friends. The very few friends I have, you can ask the very few friends that I have, that I did a lot of prep work. I was reading books, I was watching movies, documentaries, reading news articles, anything that I can get my hands on in regards to my story, I was consuming it. This was months, like at least 2 months of doing this. So prepare to read a lot, consume a lot of media, just to get yourself in that spirit and in that, in the groove of things for the story that you want to write. And do a lot of research. You're gonna need a lot more research than you think, but don't overdo it to the point where you're not writing your story. Because so many writers spend several months to years, which honestly, if you need that for your story and the type of story you're writing, great. But if you don't, the first draft it's gonna be bare bones anyway. So you're still gonna have time to research and build while you're resting from after writing your draft. So that's another major thing with prep, research. I'm also going to be posting a video that kind of goes more, another in-depth video about my process, and not the exact way that I did it, but a lot of the documents that I used to prep, which includes like the story structures and plot, mood, and tone, all that stuff. So look out for that video. Tip number 2 was sprinting. I did not sprint when I wrote my first book. I did not sprint when I wrote my second one. But my third one, the one that I wrote in 2 weeks, I did nothing but sprints. Nothing, like if I was writing, there was a sprint going. There was never not a sprint going. So sprints help tremendously, especially when you're just trying to get everything on the page as quickly as possible. It was a no-brainer. I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner. I was just like taking my time before, just writing when I felt like writing, and I would stop whenever I felt like stopping. With sprints, I set a 30-minute one, which I will link below. I set a 30-minute sprint and I would sprint nonstop. My longest day was 10 hours of sprinting. Yes, 10 hours of sprinting. It was a Saturday. I remember it very vividly because it was cold and it was raining, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit here and write all day, and I did. And I sat there for 10 hours. I have a little chart like of my sprint tracker. So 10 hours of sprinting. That was my biggest day with 8,000 words. So sprinting helped a lot, especially with the first draft. It's going to save your life. I'm not telling you to sit there for 10 hours and sprint and write nonstop, but that was my biggest day. And I'm also not telling you to write a book in 2 weeks. Like, that's insane. I am unhinged. I did not mean to write a book in 2 weeks. I started Nano like everyone else with 0 on that page, and after I was sprinting for like a few days, I was like, my word count's pretty high. What if I did this in 2 weeks, like as a joke? And then I thought to myself, what if I did this in 2 weeks? So that's when the 10-hour day kicked in, and I was like, I'm gonna just keep writing and writing and writing. And yeah, I did it in 2 weeks. So if you want to go that unhinged route, do a lot of prep. Watch my video that's coming up on that. Not sure when it's going to be coming up, but watch that video, and all the luck to you. Tip number 3 is probably the most important, out of all of them, which is community. If I did not have my writing community, I would have given up on that story. Because the second it got heavy, I was ready to quit. I was like, this is too much. Like, I was like, tears streaming down my face. I was like, I can't write this anymore. Like, this is too much. Like, I thought all of the shows and documentaries I watched prepared me for it, and it was too heavy. So I was like, you know what? I gave it a rest for that day. I remember giving it a rest for that day, and then I got right back to it. But I wouldn't have done that if I didn't message my friends and be like, you know, like, it's just important to have people that are going to encourage you and support you when the tough gets tough. Is that the saying? What is the saying? When the road gets tough. It's important to have people to encourage you when the road gets tough, which is going to get tough with writing. Honestly, it's going to get very tough. So, community helped. I went to my local write-ins during Nano, and we still have those going, right? Like, they're no longer Nano associated, but we still meet up every week, and we still write every week, and it's great. And I also have a huge writing community on Instagram, which I'm so grateful for, and they're just all so helpful, so encouraging. So find those people, hold them close, support them, and they'll support you too. Tip number 4 is routine. Now, before you say, Jada, I do not want to sit down every day at the same time and write, it's just not possible. You don't have to do that. You do not have to do that. Routine looks different for everyone. For everyone. Routine looks different for everyone. Some people, it is sitting down at the same time every day to write, but chances are the words aren't going to come every day, you know, at that same time, unless you will them to come, which is putting on that sprint and just getting garbage on the page. So, routine. I wasn't sitting down at the same time every day. I would just sit down whenever I could. And sometimes I wasn't even sitting down. I was on my phone in a grocery line typing like a paragraph, and I'd be like, I'm gonna put this in later. Now, the important part about this routine, whatever it looks like for you, is guarding that time. Go somewhere where you're not going to be disturbed for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Even if that's in your car, take your laptop, go out to the car, lock yourself in a closet. I don't know, but you need to get something on a page, set that sprinting timer, and just write. Don't look back. Do not edit. Do not edit for that first draft. I promise you, nothing good comes editing that first draft, because you're gonna edit yourself in circles. Quite simply, like that's what's going to happen. So guard that time, and yeah. Number 5, my last tip, is delusion. This kind of borders on delusion and silencing that inner editor, inner critic. No matter how many books you've written, if you haven't written any yet, your brain is going to try to tell you that you cannot do this. That's what brains do. They're going to try to convince you, like, hey, you can't do this, you can't write a book. You can, you should, and you will, okay? If you're here, you're already thinking about it. So I think this is just a sign to just go for it. Delusion is going to be your best friend when writing this book, because you're going to have to push through some hard times, like I said. You're going to need to silence your brain while you're writing somehow, some way, and just write. Be delusional. Tell yourself you can do it. Tell yourself you're the smartest person in the world. Just keep repeating that while you're writing. Eventually your brain will catch on and be like, listen, she's not going to listen to us anymore, so let's just let her write the book. So just write the book. Be delusional. And once it's done, your inner editor, inner critic, they can come out and help you revise it after you take a break, of course. You have to know when to zoom out. You have to know when to zoom out, and you have to know when to take a step back from your writing and give it a break. Give yourself a break, refill that creative well, and then you can get back into it with your inner editor and your inner critic. So just to recap, these are the 5 tips. I hope they help. Let me know if you finish that first draft. Drop any comments you might have in the comments, any questions, and any tips you might have for writers who are about to write their first draft. Thank you for watching. I have some more videos coming up, so make sure you like and subscribe and turn on notifications, I believe. Go and follow me on Instagram, where you can catch up on some more short form content, I guess. You know the deal. You know how Instagram works. So yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you next time.